And welcome to episode 5 of Like It or Leave It. It is March 10th. Hope you all are having a happy Friday out there. Gosh, I'm sounding really good at actually sounding positive now at 3 in the morning. It's great. So, we got a lot of things to talk about today. We got people, who need to calm down on the Red Sox and their expectations. We got, for probably the third time I've already said it this week, but that's because my opinion keeps changing about Dirk, and the most talked about player in basketball, one Mr. Russell Westbrook. But today we start out with the Reuben Foster story. So Reuben Foster was sent home from the NFL Combine this week, and it was for an altercation with a hospital worker. I guess they were shouting at each other, and it was behavior that was deemed inexcusable. I don't know all the details of the actual argument itself, but I guess the shouting match escalated pretty good. So then all these people were talking yesterday. I love the talking heads. And there's like, well, where do you see Reuben Foster going? And it was still pretty much a consensus. He's going to go top 10. He's that talented. Now, I have nothing against Reuben Foster. I don't know his character. I don't know his mindset after that incident, and really don't even know how big of an incident that actually was. But the more I thought about it, why would you take an inside linebacker top 10 regardless of how talented he is? Think about this. Besides like 2 or 3 guys, the inside linebacker's not full of a whole lot of playmakers or difference makers. The position as a whole is just on a downward trend. The league's become a passing league. It's a finesse league. It's a wide open league. So the downhill linebacker that you need, you just don't need him anymore. I'm going to make a case that the inside linebacker is the least necessary position on your defense. Start my case with this. Growing up, a big thing were guys that led the league in tackles or getting, if you got 100-plus tackles, you were a good player. 120-plus tackles, I were looking at you, probably some Pro Bowl consideration. 140-plus tackles, ooh, that guy's really good. Let me list off the guys who were top 10 in tackles last year. Bobby Wagner, Zach Brown, Christian Kinksey, Quan Alexander, Sean Lee, Preston Brown, Alec Ogletree, Paul Puzlunski, Zach Orr, Tahir Whitehead. If you're a casual fan, you maybe knew like 2 names that I just listed off. The other 8 guys, once again, not here to speak bad upon anyone, but they're not big-time names, and they're not big-time players. Let me list off who, in my opinion, the 5 best linebackers are. No particular order. I'm not ranking them 1 through 5. These are just simply who I think the 5 best are. Luke Kuechly, Von Miller, Khalil Mack, Justin Houston, Sean Lee. I was a little torn. I think Sean Lee and Bobby Wagner, you could probably say, are tied. I think those would be my last 2 entries on the list. But either or, whichever one you want to do. Those 5 guys aren't known for being downhill linebackers. 3 of the 5 are pass rushers. Sean Lee's more known for being a zone coverage type of linebacker, and Luke Kuechly I'll give the exception to. He's just a beast. Whatever you need him to do, he could probably do it. He could probably play corner if you needed him to bad enough. I got him on Madden. He can play tight end. He can catch. Like, the man's just a stud. The big physical, I need 120 tackles. I need 140 tackles. I need to be tough. Football's a tough sport. Need my big tough linebacker. the position's just not needed anymore. The last great middle linebacker that we're going to see like that was Ray Lewis. And we probably, unless there's a big culture change and a big shift in how the league does its business and how teams do their business, Ray Lewis is probably going to stay the last great big-time linebacker we have. Think of a guy, DeQuell Jackson. DeQuell Jackson got 2 nice free agent contracts because he was always 140, 150 tackles. You'd see him on the leaderboards every single year. Is anyone going to remember DeQuell Jackson in 10 years? Is anyone going to be like, wow, DeQuell Jackson was a great player? DeQuell Jackson, do you see all those Pro Bowls that he made? Do you see all those great teams he was on? No. DeQuell Jackson's been out of the league for 2 years, and most people are probably trying to find out what team he was on as I started talking about him. It's not a disrespect to Reuben Foster. I'm not trying to speak bad about any of these guys that are on the top 10 tackles list. But just being a guy who can get tackles is no longer that valuable. And I'd make the case being a corner, being a pass rusher are by far the 2 most important positions on the field. Being a run-stopping defensive lineman and being a playmaking safety all exceed being a great tackle linebacker. Look at the guys who aren't necessarily great tackle, big physical linebackers, but are great in coverage. Because now you got to cover tight ends. Because tight ends are out here. They're all 6'4", 6'5", former basketball players catching 80 to 100 passes a year. You get guys then like Brandon Marshall, Danny Trevathan. Sean Lee's a great example of the coverage linebacker, which has far exceeded and has far more importance than the downhill guy. And Reuben Foster right here he's got pretty good coverage skills. But until you've been in the NFL and you're guarding those tight ends, we don't know how he's going to play in those situations. Because the best tight end in college football was on his team. So outside of practice, he never had to cover that guy. So I think but what do I know? I talked about on Monday not creating dynasties or not creating super teams before they happen. And I talked about it with the Cubs. Well, I got to talk about it with another baseball team now. This offseason, the Boston Red Sox went out and acquired Chris Sale. Who? Chris Sale is great. Does he make them better? Absolutely. Were they good last year? Absolutely. Does him being great, them being really good last year, does that make them great now? Not even kind of. Consistency, predictability, and availability are huge. Don't get a lot of love with kids in terms of sports because kids love excitement, kids love the flash, kids love the flair, and as fans, we all love that stuff. You know, Marvin Harrison's one of the 10 greatest receivers of all time, but if you put him up against the other 9 guys, he's probably the most boring and probably the one you're just kind of like, you'd argue why he's not that great because he is just consistency and availability. The Red Sox starting 9 guys. We're going to do it who is proven and who is unproven. The proven quantities. We have Hanley Ramirez at first base. You know what he is. Dustin Pedroia at second. You know what he is. Pablo Sandoval. You know what he is. And Sandy Leon. You know what he is. Now, I would make a case that with Pedroia, you got a great player. Hanley, you got a good player. Pablo, you have overweight and underwhelming. And with Sandy Leon, you've got a guy who's got 5 years. He's 5 years into his career now and has had one okay season when he only played half the season. So 2 a year for proven quantities aren't proven in a good way. They're just proven. Let's look at the unproven quantities. Well, let's start with their entire outfield. Mookie Betts and Jackie Bradley Jr. are coming off career years. There's no guarantee they're going to repeat that. There's a reason why guys have career years and guys have career averages. The career year is great. The career averages are not as good as the career year. So to expect that they're going to just repeat that and that's all they're going to be, like I'm hearing people talk about Mookie Betts being one of the 2 best right fielders in the game of baseball. Stop it. He's played one season like that. Jackie Bradley Jr. just 2 years ago was close to batting under 200 and going back to the minors. Andrew Benintendi, number 1 prospect in baseball. That's fine. But you're a prospect for a reason. He is a rookie. I know he played about 30, 40 games for Gen last year, and he might be great. But he's unproven. Xander Bogaerts. He's the one I probably struggled on the most because he's played now about 2 years, but 1 year was not so great. Last year was really good. Does he keep that up? Once again, there's career years and there's career averages. Let's go with their starting rotation. We've got David Price, Chris Sale, Rick Porcello, Drew Pomeranz, and then they have a choice between either Eduardo Rodriguez or Stephen Wright. David Price and Chris Sale are proven. I'll give you that. You've got 400 innings, 400 strikeouts, good ERA, dominant 1-2 starter. Rick Porcello, he is also proven, but he's also proven trending the other way. Once again, his career year, 20-game winner, Cy Young, does not match up or line up with any of his other seasons. And just the year prior, his ERA was over 5, and the year before that was close to 5. Drew Pomeranz, out of his 3.5 big league seasons, he's had 1/2 of a season last year with the Padres where he was great, then gets traded and does okay. And the other 3 years aren't high to speak of. And then you've got Eduardo Rodriguez and Stephen Wright. Once again, they fall into unproven. Stephen Wright's a knuckleball pitcher who had a little bit of success last year. And Eduardo Rodriguez, nice pitcher, but once again, not enough of a sample size. And then you've got Craig Kimbrell at the end of the bullpen, proven. So if I go down this list, I've got for proven 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that are proven, with only 4 being proven to be all-star type players or better than. I've got for unproven 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys for unproven. The Red Sox are projected by most people to make a run at the World Series, to win the division, to do all these great things. And they might, but we need to slow down. There's a big difference in who is considered great because they've been there, done that. And then there's just trying to put expectations on an unproven quantity. Like I said, proven and reliable are 2 major key factors in this. something I've been going back and forth on all week, and I've talked about him already a couple times, and I want to take back or change my opinion on what I said about him prior, because I was starting to think, I've been seeing all these all-time lists with Dirk showing up, and people got him everywhere, right? There's some people who've got him top 20. There's some people who have him top 25. Some people even have him top 15. Some people don't even have him in the top 40 or 50. I had him, when I looked at it first, I was like, I wasn't super impressed by Dirk off the bat. And I was like, one MVP, one finals, can't take that away from him. But if you look at it, the people he played with, his contemporaries, there's like 6 or 7 guys I would take above him. And that to me kind of dragged down his value. Sports and life is such a comparative analysis that when you do compare guys, you almost take the joy out of someone else. For me to say someone is better than the other guy, it almost feels like I'm just taking down the other guy. No, 2 people can both be great. One is just greater. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are both great. Michael Jordan is just greater. And everyone always says, you can't compare Dirk. There's no one else like him. And I thought about it, and I'll fight that argument. I think Dirk has a very good comparison, even though this is about to be the most unpopular opinion ever. Dirk Nowitzki's comparison and the guy that he should be tied with on any all-time list is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, hold on before you freak out about that. And I got 5 reasons why they should be compared. Both being these unique 7-footers, both with the 2 most unblockable shots in basketball history. Kareem had the sky hook, and Dirk's got his jumper where he puts it so far back behind his head you just can't touch it when you're 7 feet tall. So think about their circumstances. If Kareem had played in Milwaukee his entire career, I think he still scores the same amount of points. He probably actually scores even more. But because Kareem went to LA and played with Magic Johnson, who's pretty much a consensus top 3, top 4 player, Kareem ends up with the 6 MVPs, the 6 titles, or 5 titles, I apologize, and all these accolades, and gets vaulted into this top 5, top 10 player realm. Well, what if Dirk played in LA? What if Dirk played with someone like Magic Johnson? They both have over 30,000 points. I get Kareem had more, and like I said, Kareem got to shoot more. The pace was much faster. But they're going to both finish around, Dirk's probably going to get up to about 32,000 points by the end of next year when he's done playing, maybe even a little bit more. So he'll fall about 5,000-6,000 points short of Kareem. But take away the fact Kareem was a better rebounder. Dirk was more efficient. Everyone's going to say, how do you get more efficient than Kareem? Well, Kareem was always in the paint. And yes, the hook shot is sort of like a jump shot. But if you look at their percentages, Dirk's a more efficient free throw shooter, and Dirk is more efficient with not turning the ball over, whereas turnovers is in Dirk's favor. He only averages 1.8 for his career. Kareem was at 3, and free throw shooting, Dirk is at 87, and Kareem is at 72. Field goal percentage goes to Kareem, partly because Dirk's shooting threes as well, which 3-point shots aren't even close. Dirk's a 38% career 3-point shooter. Kareem he's taken 10 his whole life. The 2 guys with unblockable shots can score points with the best of them. One ended up in LA. One played in Dallas his whole career. No offense to Dallas. Mark Cuban's a great owner, but they weren't the Lakers. And the teams and the players that were playing at those times are completely different. This is why Kareem got all those MVPs. Well, his contemporaries weren't putting up the kind of seasons that Dirk's contemporaries were. In my head, I think Kareem's the better player. But that's part of the perception, is that we're led to believe Dirk or Kareem is the better player. The mystique of LA, the Laker legacy, all that stuff. He's the all-time leading scorer, which is in itself a kind of a funky stat because it becomes more of a war of attrition more so than just how talented or how dominant you really are. These guys are so close to each other that now, if I'm doing an all-time list, they got to be tied. If Kareem gets to be the 5th best player ever, Dirk's got to be the 5th best player ever. If Dirk's the 20th best player ever, Kareem's got to be the 20th best player ever. Because that's all they were. They were the exact same guy playing in 2 separate eras. 7-footers, shot you couldn't block, great scorers, both the champions. One just won exceedingly more because he had better teammates around him. Could you imagine if Dirk had Magic Johnson around him? Last thing I want to get into, and the most talked about guy in basketball, probably even to the point of people are just getting sick of talking about him. One, Mr. I dress real funny, Russell Westbrook. As a fan, I love Russell Westbrook. 100%. He's fun. He's exciting. We do have this thing where we fall in love with the Allen Iversons of the world, the Stephon Marburys of the world, Derrick Rose when he first came up, and now Russell Westbrook. The difference between Russell Westbrook, all of those other guys, is he has this ceiling that is unreachable by the others. Take the game last night. It was 23 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists. That game, he plays like that every night, is far better than the 58 points he pulled 2 nights ago. And 58 points is incredible. By the way, everyone's talking about, 58 points. It's not that. It's, he's just being a bog. 58 points. Most people couldn't score 20 points in an NBA game. The man did almost 3 times that. So let's not ridicule 58 points. He always talks about, when he gets interviewed, triple doubles, they don't matter. It's all about the team. Well, look at how the team plays when you get triple doubles. Look at how you guys win when you get triple doubles. If I'm him, I'd worry less about winning the games, and I would honestly worry about getting the triple doubles because he is a far better player when he plays like that compared to when he's out there trying to score 35, 40 points because he thinks, that's what the team needs tonight to win. He's got guys on his team, Enes Kanter, Victor Oladipo, now Doug McDermott, Taj Gibson. He's got guys that can play. And if he's in that 23, 25 point range, 12 rebound, 10 to 12 rebound, 10 to 12 assists, we'll even put that up. He should actually be closer to 12, 13 rebounds, 12, 13 assists. Because he can do that on a consistent basis. And 25, 12, and 12 is far better than the 30, 10, and 10 he's doing right now. The team looks better when he does it. The offense looks better when he does it. The overall flow of the game looks better. He looks better when he does it. And if he did that for an entire season, he automatically becomes the most complete player in the league. More so than LeBron. More so than Kawhi Leonard. And if he played like that every time, more and more guys would want to come play with him. Because if I got a point guard who I know can not only be my secondary scorer, can run my offense, can help rebound, and is going to get me the ball, if I'm a dude who scores 20 plus points a game, send me there. I'm going to go play with Russell Westbrook. because that is Russell Westbrook's ceiling, and that's when he's at his best. Allen Iverson could never do that. Part to being listed at 6 foot, probably 5'9". Derrick Rose could never do that. Russell Westbrook has the opportunity to be a better offensive Jason Kidd. I don't know about you, but Jason Kidd's going into the Hall of Fame here in the next year or two, whenever his eligibility is. So I think to be a better offensive player than someone who's going into the Hall of Fame, not bad. Thank you guys for joining me for this first week. Enjoyed doing this. We'll be back again on Monday with episode 6. Once again, if you have anything you want to hear me talk about, comment down. If I've got a SoundCloud up now, like it or leave it on SoundCloud. Anytime anyone's able to share the videos, spread the word about the videos, all that stuff helps. Thank you guys very much, and I will see you on Monday. And on Monday, I'll be able to fucking talk like a normal person. I hate my fucking voice right now. Yeah. I also hate the Red Sox. Fuck them. I hate the Red Sox and the Yankees. They can both blow a dick. But that's actually something that bugs me, so.
Blowing dick?
Yeah, that bugs me too. Especially when they don't.